much about how straight the standing leg is, okay, but a matter of pulling the energy up the leg. So even if your leg is bent and I'm here, okay, it's actually a lot more work on the quad, okay, but you're still doing it, the belly's in, and you're really working on the alignment on the back line of the body, okay, even if I'm here and my knee is bent. It actually makes it a lot easier, okay, but you really want to push through the sole of the foot, and then it's going to be about the belly coming up and the spine being as long as possible. Okay? And in both shapes, even though there's a curvature to the spine in airplane pose, my spine isn't shortening, okay? There's a strengthening happening here, but there's still this lengthening out through the upper portion of my body, okay? And it's not a collapse.
Can you go to the other side so that they can see your standing leg? So for a lot of us too, you guys, it's energy to the outside edge riding up on this leg, and then the inside of her right thigh lifting up, so there's this internal rotation that's just going to help level off her hips. Okay, so you also, a good indication is that your toes are facing straight down. But there's this energy, she has a really long line of energy riding up the opposite edge of her leg here.
Right. So even if I'm bending, okay, this lever is still coming in, so that the hip points are coming, there's an inward rotation, okay, so that the hip points are squaring off versus an outward rotation, which is going to open the hips wide. So what I see a lot of is people almost coming into like half moving, okay, because it's just easier, and it forces your weight to come to the stronger part of the body, okay, which is on the outside of that standing leg, versus the inside where everything's kind of moving in towards each other. That makes sense.
And you also have this, the same thing that we talked about earlier with that rooting of all four corners of your feet. You want to find a foundation. You have one point of contact to the earth, and that's one foot. So that's so important to find stability there. And so a lot of times it's very natural to find that like wiggle wobbly of your foot. So if you start thinking about all four corners rooting down, there's this thing called Pada Bandha, which is in your feet. It's this lift through the inner arch of your feet, this lift through the arch, so it's energy rising up your feet, so you feel really rooted. Your toes are nice and light, and you can even play around with that just in standing. Find that place where you feel all four corners, you lift all your toes, you spread them wide, and you should feel the engagement coming all the way up your legs. Okay?
Does everybody know what a bandha is?
Does anybody not know what a bandha is? Because this is the time to ask.
Yeah, okay.
I don't.
it's a good,
Yeah.
segue. Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, they're energy locks in your body, and so Pada is, when we say Pada, we mean feet. So you hear like Pada Gustasana, Pada Hastasana, hands to your feet, big toes. And so when you find that energy lock, it's this like rising sensation, this lift.
Yeah. So lock or seal, okay? And so depending, it's an esoteric term for an energetic feeling, and it's going to be different for everybody. But sealing in the energy or locking in the energy in order to pull it up where it needs to be going, okay? And so for a lot of people, it's actually more like a suction cup, okay? And
You're finding the same thing through your belly when you bring your knee forward, right? It's that same sort of like lifting up of your belly to bring your knee forward, the mechanism of your core. So you've already kind of tapped into it earlier, and now we're finding Pada Bandha when you're standing. You find that lift of energy, that lock that gives you length and strength.
yeah. Is anybody curious about what we mean? Yeah? Go ahead. So, from the ground up, Pada Bandha, okay? Feet, okay? Mula Bandha is going to be your pelvic floor. So everything we talked about getting the tailbone to align where it needs to go, that's the pulling, and the pelvic diaphragm actually goes down, okay? So it's going to feel like rising up, but it's a knitting down so that you get this pulling up through Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha. Okay? Jalandhara Bandha. Okay? So we play with it a little bit when we start the Ujjayi breathing. The lock in the back of the neck as you're pulling the breath in. I think Darth Vader breath or like you're purring. Yeah. Okay? Jalandhara Bandha. And then Hasta Bandha.
So when you're in down dog, it's not pushing the floor away from you, you're pulling energy up. So you're feeling rooted through the middle knuckles of your hands, and then there's that suction cup of energy riding up rather than pushing down. Mm-hmm. And that's when you tap into Hasta Bandha.
Yeah. So, I mean, we won't get into really deep into this because that's kind of a whole other school.
That's nice to be aware and feel.
But being aware of, because